I'm from the country, Panama City, Florida, where, everybody broke, everybody drank, everybody smoked, and everybody loved to have a great time. Of course, we've all suffered, not everybody, but most people that come from impoverished areas and things like that. We had a family trauma and things like that. And I'm no stranger to family trauma, molestation, abuse. And I've always found, laughter was one of my main therapies, as well as, it's hard for me to talk about myself, so give me a second. Laughter has always been my therapy, and also getting to know others through their experiences has always helped me to manage. And so, I didn't figure out, because of all the pain and trauma that I did go through as a child, I didn't think I was going to live past 25 years old. I was suicidal. Didn't really have a lot of hope. There was no talks of what you're going to do when you get older, besides get married, because every country girl gets married. That's kind of something that, those that are raised in the Bible Belt do. But as far as, figuring out, what I wanted to do, that kind of came through trial and error, me working various jobs, mainly in the restaurant industry, and meeting other entrepreneurs and learning how to be an entrepreneur through trial and error by, meeting other people and watching them and, getting to know them and working with some of them. And of course, working in the restaurant industry teaches anybody, it don't matter your background, whether you got, a college background, being in the restaurant industry teaches you everything you need to know about how to make money, how to sustain money, how to work with people, how to deal with difficult situations. And so it was in the restaurant industry in Hagerstown, Maryland, right after my first bankruptcy. I hit a chapter 7 because my husband and I had a transportation company. He mainly ran that, and I did a lot of dispatching, working with customers, and so we ended up losing that business. And going back into the restaurant industry is kind of where I picked up a mic and started doing promo, because the restaurant that I worked for would hire radio stations to come in and do promo so that people would come out, and eat the food. And I don't want to say the restaurant name because, they ain't paid me and I need all the money I can get. So they want me to shout them out. I'm open. Let's do that. Yeah, I went through 12 years of therapy, 12 hard years of therapy. It's not easy, sitting in front of somebody that you don't know and having to face things that you intentionally buried. Because when you bury things and you don't deal with them, they come out in other ways. And they came out in other ways through, and me being a mother and me being a wife and me being a friend or a coworker, that trauma always comes up, and it still always, comes up. But because of the therapy that I went through intensively, I know how to deal with that and suppress that and channel that in positive ways. And that's kind of how my channel evolved. Dairy Queen. One of the reasons why I don't eat Dairy Queen to this day. They had milk buckets back in the day, and they only got clean 2 weeks. That was back in the day. So I don't know what their technology is now. But yeah, my first job was 14 at Dairy Queen in Panama City, Florida, and got fired from that. I cussed the lady out. Yeah, I did. I don't know what it was. I think a customer was complaining about something, and I was trying to tell her what the customer was complaining about. I think it had something to do with some cold fries. And she was just like, deal with it. And I'm like, well, they want to talk to you. And she was just like, well, they're not supposed to talk to me. That's why I hired you. And so she got smart with me. It was a little old white lady. And I was like, you don't talk to me like that. And I said a couple of words to her, being one of them. And I got fired. I mean, white people in Florida call themselves. Like, I was just doing Earthquake show yesterday. I was unsure on whether I could say it or not, because, I don't know how some people feel about that word. But the white man was like, say it, like it's kind of a Southern thing. So, yeah, I don't mind at all, to be honest with you. I think it's through our life experiences and those tough conversations and being able to turn it into humor is how we relate to people. I've never been offended by white people saying nigga. I grew up around white people that said nigga. I grew up around white people that called themselves. So it's kind of an everyday term. Now, when they add an ER, that's a very, and they putting a lot of power behind that, then yeah, we can talk. But I'm not I'm not in a space where I'm going to be losing any more than I've already lost over someone saying something that's just merely a word that I don't identify as. So I don't really care one way or another. And they use it in movies. Like, I don't get it. Like, so I don't understand why black people are selected, you know? Florida's just uncensored. You get everybody from everywhere that just get tired of being censored, and they want to be in a place where they could just be free to do what the they want to do. I mean, that's why they were one of the first states to just do away with the COVID restrictions and stuff. You saw how the damn governor was, take the masks off. And like, that's just how we are as Floridians. We don't give a damn. Like, we just want people to live, enjoy the sunshine, have a good time. We talk about one another. We cuss each other out. But at the end of the day, you know, we just want to have a good time in Florida. I got married at 24 years old, and I married my husband within 3 months of meeting him. Yeah. Yeah, and I was pregnant, I think, a month after we got married. We moved rather fast. Yeah, when you know, you know. It's a child right there. I was going to say something, but it's a child right there. But, you know, things were just good. You know, I don't know why people need to go through these... oh, I need to get know you. I mean, you get to know each other as you get married. You're gonna get to know each other one way or another. He was sexy as hell because he had an accent and he could speak 4 languages, but it wasn't love at first sight. It was lust. He had discipline. He was responsible. You know, when you meet a guy that's 26 years old who put himself through college, who moved, you know, from another country to another country without family, got it on his own. He didn't have a car. I love that. That was one of the things that my mom always taught me. You know, you meet a man with a car, 9 times out of 10, he ain't got no money because it's going to the car payment and the insurance, especially a young man. And I just like the way he positioned his life. He made sure that his townhouse was close to his job. You know, he was a very humble, practical guy. I'll never forget, like, he was changing all the light bulbs in the house to like 15-watt lights. And I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, my light bill is only $30. I'm like, how you do that? Like, you know, I was just watching just how he was and then how he was with his father and his mother. And when he asked me to marry him, right after he bailed me out of jail, after he gave the police my license, because I had a few outstanding warrants for driving with no insurance and no registration and I didn't know that he was planning on proposing to me the day we had got pulled over. Because we had bought a little cash car that didn't go in reverse. It's a true story. My winos know. You know, when he gave the officer my license too, you know, I ended up going to jail, but he bailed me out, took all his money out of savings, bailed me out. I already had a ring custom made for mayors. It was like $600. You know, in 2006, that was a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? Especially for somebody 26 years old on a basic, you know, bartender salary. And he asked me to marry him as soon as I got out of jail. No shower, period was on. Bought me a box of Popeye's chicken. And yeah, he asked me to marry him. And I said yes. I thought that was the sweetest proposal ever. And here we are 18 years later. And we got married twice. He never got a chance to marry me in his country. He's from Mali, West Africa, Bamako, Mali. And so, you know, doing a traditional ceremony is a big thing, but because we were so broke, that was something he always wanted to do. And so after we had got, you know, done with the lawsuit and stuff, you know, his family planned a huge wedding for me. I had no idea. And he took me over there and gave me the traditional ceremony and married me twice. It was beautiful. Well, when I worked at a restaurant in Hagerstown, Maryland, around 2010, 11, I picked up a mic. And when I picked up a mic, I was filling in for the radio station. I never wanted to put it down. So I'm doing birthday shout outs. I'm street team now. I'm working for the radio station. I'm working for the restaurant. I tried to go to school for it, but the schools were run down, you know, and I've never been a fan of school anyway, you know. I just kind of worked my way up. I just never put the mic down. You know, I had a few radio shows in Atlanta, working as street team. And then it was kind of when it didn't work out in mainstream radio was when I took to the internet in 2016. And that's why we're here now. I was doing the same in 2016 that I'm doing now, you know, with wine and, you know, giving my opinion. I wasn't breaking stories then, but it was more in a comedic fashion. But I used to follow like Nicole Bitchie and Famous and all them. So yeah, like that's when the blogs was like blogging, you know. It's gotten watered down a lot now these days, but that back then it was like you could see anything. No, I was more so they would put out a story and I would comment on it on YouTube. I initially started on Facebook because that's where I had just like, friends and family, and, everybody always loved to be around me because I'm like, they call me the life of the party. They always want me at their weddings, baby showers, Tasha's coming, we're going to have a good time, and so, when I did it on Facebook, it would be when my husband was at work, and I would just, I remember my first video going viral was on Christina Milian breaking up with Lil Wayne after she found that stripper in his house. And she had asked him, is this your house? And is this girl in your house? And he lied about it. But she knew he had lied. And she was like, you know what? We're done. And I never forget. I was like, damn, that was some real shit. Like, she didn't have to call her mama. She didn't have to call her daddy. Most women, girl, I can't believe he doing this. Do you really think he fucking with her or something? I just loved like how she just owned it, and demanded respect and said, I don't need to be lied to. And so I ended up putting that up with some commentary, and woke up the next day and it had like 2 million views. And I was like, whoa. And they were all like, yeah, she did that shit. Say that shit, and I was just like, oh my God. And I deleted the video because I was scared. I wasn't ready for nothing like that. So after that, I just started giving, commentary on like when Future was with Sierra. There's a lot of stuff like that, T.I. and Tiny. And then eventually I moved to YouTube, and, the winos, they took it from there. On Facebook, no. On YouTube, yes. I think at that time they were monetizing everybody. All you had to do was create a YouTube channel and make videos. Back then it was like good. But I didn't do it. I remember I was working at another restaurant in Atlanta, and there was this guy named Dave, white boy, a nerd. I love him. And because he's the reason why I'm monetized to this day. He was like, I've been watching your channel. Like, you getting a lot of views. Like, are you paid? I'm like, no, I'm doing it for fun. And I was truly doing it for fun. It was kind of like an outlet since radio didn't work. And, they were saying that they didn't know how to take me. My mouth was too, it was the South, women of the South that's supposed to be seen, not heard. I think the housewives kind of gave Southern women that push to be able to, say and be outspoken like Northern women and things like that. But as far as, what I'm doing right now, there are no Southern women that are doing what I'm doing at all. So, but when it comes to the monetization aspect of it, he was like, all right, I tell you what, you give me $100 and I'm gonna make sure you get paid on YouTube. And I was like, $100? I was like, nah, I'm not ready. I'm gonna wait till I get like 100,000. He was like, 100,000? You get millions of views now? And I was like, I'm not in it. I just love doing it, And he was like, just come to my house, 7 o'clock, bring $100 and I'm gonna get you a check. And he did that. And I went back to him and I was like, my first check was $150. He said, yeah, it could have been 10,000 had you would have claimed that money, but you didn't. And I was like, what? So that's how the monetization like came into it in every way. This is my fun. Like, I don't want friends. I just love spending time with my family and my husband, my daughter and stuff. But it's just fun. Just the ideas that I come up with. It's kind of like how, writers just love to write and spend all their time writing, or painters just want to paint over being in the streets. You know what I'm saying? I'm always writing. I'm always researching stories. I'm always, trying to find the humor in it, or trying to find the entertainment, in it, or just the lesson. I do this and I got that from Clark Howard when he, just kind of mentored me for a little while. He's a big white, just e-commerce personality, and he built his own from the ground up. No one gave him a job. I'm sure you've heard of Clark Howard out of Atlanta. He always told me, make sure you always be on top of your stories. You do the researching, you do the reaching out to people. If you start letting people do that, they're not going to understand your approach to it. So even though I have people that help me, that work with me and stuff, I always take it and just kind of make it my own. So if they bring the person to me, I may not know nothing about them, but I'm gonna get to know them, and I'm gonna make sure there's an entertainment factor, in it. I'm gonna make sure it's funny. I'm gonna make sure there's a life lesson, and we could just be all around just real. It's kind of like, I like my channel being, like representing Florida and all the fuck shit that goes on in Florida. Like that's essentially what it is. So I'm a shit starter for one. I'm an instigator. You know how we was in high school or middle school, there was always this instigator? Well, she said that you was sleeping with her boy. That was me. Like even through high school, I was always in the gym, telling stories, starting shit. It's fun for me, I never did it to the point where people were fighting. I never did that. I was always the one fighting for starting shit. So, and it kind of rolls into my brand. But yeah, I if it doesn't spark any conversation, I don't want to talk about it. It's how we get to know one another. It's through the family arguments, at the wedding. One side don't want you to marry the other. Breaking down those barriers, getting to know one another. The world is not just one way. There's so many different factors that go into it, and I love to be on the verge of it all. Like I want to be right there as we're getting to know people and, how they live lives. And that's what makes us unique. And I highlight it all. White fuck shit, black fuck shit, Asian fuck shit. When you're from Florida, you really ain't scared of shit. Cause you get that upbringing coming up. Cause there's a lot of crazy motherfuckers in Florida, I know, and I don't do this maliciously. I do this for fun, And it does bother some people. I'll give an example, like Alexis Scott. Now she's saved, sanctified, filled with the Holy Ghost, no longer a hoe no more. And she was on video saying, "Oh, when I see Tasha K, I'm gonna beat that bitch ass." Da, 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 da. Just talking shit. I run into her in a restaurant. She knew it was me. I knew it was her. I sat right beside her, and she made sure she turned her back. But I'm like, but didn't you say when you saw me, you was going? Because they talk a lot of shit and they don't like their names in the title. And I get that, it's not like getting your ass whooped in front of the world. But, when everything dies down, it's really not worth it. It's all commentary. I'm not thinking about y'all when I go to sleep. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not out here trying to test your gangster. I'm like, hey girl, how you doing? You good? You ordering the chicken? That's just essentially how it goes. And when people run into me, they're like, oh my God, first of all, you're really short, and two, like you got a big mouth, but it's never no beef at all. Yeah, I don't talk about death. I don't talk about disabled people or situations. And I definitely don't talk about children in a way where, it could turn into like, bullying, because kids still gotta, they gotta grow older. So yeah, I mean, we get a lot of stories that are put on our desks, especially things that go on within our own community. And some stuff I do want to touch on, but it's like, I don't want to be that outlet where people watch and they have to relive or re-grieve or be triggered in a way that'll cause them to hate. I always want my videos to be entertainment and love. That's it. So if the message is not going to be entertaining, or if it's not going to be love, or either they hate to love me, I don't want it. But I just don't want people to have to grieve through certain situations, especially like a mom or a dad that lost a child. First of all, as Black girls who grew up in the hood, okay, and any Black girl can tell you this, there was nothing that we could get away with. Me saying that Blue Ivy was stiff, that's something I would tell my own daughter in front of her friends. Cheerleading, dance, color guard and stuff, that's something that's a part of our culture. And it's really not genuinely given to us. It doesn't matter. Your aunt could be the head of the cheerleading squad. If you fucking suck, she gonna tell you suck. That's not beating down your self-esteem or nothing. It actually builds character, and it helps you to be able to push through. It's not bullying. And I think Blue Ivy, because of who her parents are, a lot of things are being told to her that I feel that aren't in her best interest. Because social media, first of all, was already talking about how stiff she was. When I saw the video, I was like, oh, like why they put her up there? Because there are Black girls that I feel that Beyonce could have gave opportunities from the hood to really, really get up there and dominate, but she does it because it's her daughter. And I feel like that's how Bobby Christina took the path that she took, because she didn't have anything on her own that she developed. It was just given to her. And Blue Ivy is privileged. So I wasn't trying to be like negative towards her. I'm gonna tell her what my daughter wanted to be a cheerleader. I said, baby, you stiff. You dance like a white girl. You can't do it. That my daughter ain't about to jump off a cliff and kill herself just because she can't dance. She gonna find what her strong point is. Tina followed me, and Tina put up a video saying, when people hate, this is what you do, and she sent her little shot through the video. And Tina's a wino, so Tina see everything, But I get it. That's her granddaughter. She's supposed to show up. That's her granddaughter. But at the same time, like, that's your granddaughter, and you're literally telling her that she's good. And I'm like, the world is only telling her that she's good because of her mother. But I guarantee if you ex Beyonce from the picture and you put her up on that stage by herself, the world would tear her down. Y'all not gonna always be around to protect her. And that has nothing to do with Blue Ivy being like she's a beautiful girl. I think she's humble. I think she has courage. I love the fact that she can just, regardless, 50,000 people dancing in front of, that's heavy, but you still gotta be good. It's like being a comedian, and somebody gives you that opportunity to get on stage, and you may be an up and coming comedian and you get booed. You gotta take and make it better. But being told that you're good just because of who your mother is, no. So I'm telling her nothing different than what Coach D from Dancing Dolls be telling them little girls on that show. And you put your daughter out there. You're not, it could be the royal family. I'm going to comment on it. When you put something out in the public and you're a public figure, I'm going to comment on it. But I think and especially in our community, we have hierarchies, and certain people we just feel like should just be off limits because of their bank accounts. No, absolutely not. You shouldn't piss the same way I do. Beyonce get cheated on same way I do or any other woman do. What the hell? No, because they feel that that's where they want to be. Like, if these people obviously have all this money and they're doing all these great things, then they should be off limits. No, absolutely not. Like, they just grind it just a tad bit harder than we're grinding. And they're not on social media commenting. They're making commentary. So it's a difference. They're providing a service. And as a person who buys that service, I get to leave a Google review or a Yelp review if I don't like the service. And if you selling $5,000 tickets that people buying on a firm and I don't like it, shit, I should be able to complain about it. I don't give a damn if it was Queen Elizabeth. If I don't like what you saying, I'm going to complain. Yeah, I'm not pressured. Suggestions have been made, but you got to understand, nobody gave me this seat. This seat that I'm sitting in right now is because of me. And there's a lot of people that were against what I'm doing. Even my dad, he calls me an extremist. I said, Dad, spell extremist. They don't even know what that word, how to spell that word. Because it's unheard of for a dark-skinned woman. I guarantee if I was light-skinned, and Amanda Seales gets away with a lot of shit, right? She says a lot of shit. She's very vocal, but because she's light-skinned, it goes right under the table. Doesn't trend at all, right? Like, there's all these barriers, and then I'm a married woman, so that makes it worse. Like, where's your husband? I'm like, my husband with all the shit. You have no idea. He like, go, bitch, go. Like, he loves it all. So, and that was one of the things that attracted him, to me. Because I asked him, I was like, what do you like about me? You're entertaining. That's what he told me on our first date. And I ended up getting him some pussy, so that probably had a lot to do with the entertainment. But still, yeah, like, it's just, I just think they're not used to somebody like me being as bold and as aggressive and dark, and I got short hair, and black women already get enough backlash for being aggressive and masculine and stuff. And I'm like, I'm very much feminine. I'm just loud and country. That's just that. And they're not used to loud and country women having platforms like I do. It was never in my favor. I mean, that was an international superstar coming after a blogger with 200,000 followers. Okay? She had millions flagging videos, taking down Instagrams. This is my 4th Instagram right now. But for me, I was like, shit, it could be billions of people. What I feel is what I feel. I've always been that way. And my mom, she tried to shake that shit out of me, like, why you so steadfast in your... I'm like, I get it from you. What the hell? And so, but I didn't do anything. In my opinion, I didn't do anything wrong. I interviewed somebody that she had dealings with. That girl said a lot of shit, And to me, it was fuck shit. And it was right up my alley on my channel. Now, publications, yes, we air stuff, and some of that shit can backfire. And that's what happened. And she had the money to make it backfire. I did not at all. 200,000 followers, Still ain't got that kind of money. You know, you're an international superstar. And they gave you what they felt that you deserve, even though you came in with $5,000 worth of medical bills, you know? So 4 million, 5,000, hey, be as it may. But it was always an attempt to get me to humble myself, or, you know, pick and choose your battles, or, you know, you should be afraid of my bank account or my lawyers and things like that. And I'm like, listen, y'all can lock me up, throw away the motherfucking key. I'm still gonna be talking shit at the end of the day. You pissing shit just like me. The only difference is your bank account is bigger than mine, but that still don't make you smarter. It doesn't make you bigger. It doesn't make you better than me. You understand what I'm saying? Like, if I wanted to get out there and cut a few corners and drug and rob men and shit for studio time, for money for studio time to get on, but I never had to do that. I've never had to take off my clothes. I've never had to, you know, drug and rob men to, you know, to pay for studio time or present myself in a sexually provocative way. I've always used my voice. I've always used my brain to do things. No, absolutely not. There's nothing you're going to try to tell me to change me, and I don't give a shit how many cracker lawyers you hire to try to get me to shut the fuck up, okay? You got to earn my respect. And she was very disrespectful. And as the public sees, she is very, very disrespectful. But the difference is it's light-skinned privilege versus a dark-skinned, aggressive, loud-ass woman. She just met her energy. And my energy was just a little bit broker than hers. And that's just ultimately what it boils down to. But as far as the way I disseminate news, I don't have time to go back to school or things like that to learn defamation law and stuff, because it wasn't intentional for me to be sitting. I mean, it was intentional after a while, but when I first started this, no, it was fun. It's still fun. But now I have First Amendment right lawyers. That's all they do. They don't do any other type of law. You know, they do First Amendment right, you know, your freedom of speech. And they educate me. Do you know what this is? Do you know how to disseminate this? I could talk about anything, but it's just the way I disseminate that information. And because I like to find the entertainment aspect of it, that's where the comedy comes in at. And I'm able to make it fun and make light of it. And that's just what it's going to be. And I don't give a fuck, public figure or not. You know, listen, you're going to catch this energy the same way every other person in the limelight catches this energy. So you're not singled out. It's not like she's singled out. Everybody gets smoke on my channel. And most of the celebrities love it. They really love it. Because, you know, publicity ain't cheap. But on my channel, I give it for free. So, and now your name is not in the title no more. You're having to go pay people to put your name in the title when money ain't rolling in like it used to, because you spent 6 years fighting a broke blogger. That, hey, it can backfire. So I'm seeing how, you know, the tables have turned. I'm like, it didn't even have to come to this. All you had to do was be nice, tell me what it was that you didn't like about it, and we could have been done. But she's a bully. I think it was one day. It was like the night before I turned 40 years old. Because I'm 41 now, I just turned 41, yeah. So it was like the night before I turned, you know, and you try to look at it and access your goals, and, you know, I'm thinking like, damn, you know, did I make it this far to come to this? Like, is this it for me? You know? And then I was looking around at my circle and shit, you know, how they was like, you know, using me and shit. You know, it was a lot of reflecting, you know, as far as like, you know, what's next, you know, because 40 is a milestone, you know, and I'm like, but then I had to look at all the positive things that I've done and all the accomplishments, and does it outweigh this one thing? And then I had to look at the media business as a whole. Media companies get sued all the time. McDonald's gets sued all the time. You can get in your car and get sued. It's the nature of the business. Like, and am I going to let one lawsuit put me out of business, or am I going to use this and learn from it and apply the lessons to my business and go and, you know, do things better? And that's exactly what I did. And so, yeah, it was a moment. It was kind of like, damn, I'm turning 40 and I got this bill, and I just got my American Express card back after, you know, bankruptcy and shit, and my credit score at 800. Now this bitch finna go back down, but it's at a 689 right now in my bankruptcy. So it ain't too bad. You know, I can get a couple trade lines and get it back up. But, you know, yes, I reflected everything. And everyone that was in my circle, that was supposed to be in my circle, said, Tasha, you built this, you got it out the mud, you ain't have to rob, drugs, steal, just, I ain't have to do anything to degrade myself or anybody to get where I'm sitting today. And people love it. They love it. And that's why we have such a massive following. I always say this, never chase a lie. And in my situation, what got me caught up was I cussed her out real bad. It had nothing to do with defamation. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was on the interview that I interviewed concerning a stripper that she had stripped with at a strip club. And they had a back and forth. They had a fight. So she's telling her side. Of course, Cardi got her side. But as far as what got me caught up in it was, me cussing her out. When they opened up, during opening arguments, it was like, bitch, fuck you, you fake titty, fake body, dirty rat. I went in, I was like, that's why Offset don't want your motherfucking ass. And all them crackers sitting there watching that shit. I said, ooh, we're done here. We're done. That I will never do again. And that was probably the only video that I've done like that to that extent, because I was just angry, at everything. I mean, we was like, 3 years into the lawsuit by then. People didn't know what was going on behind the scenes, and, threats and shit that I was getting, and, stuff like that. And her sending people to my door and getting her gang member friends on me and stuff. Like, it was just a lot of shit. And I'm from the country, and then I'm a hood bitch at the same time. So, all of that came out in that video. And even my husband, he didn't even know I made that video. He's like, what the hell? I was just like, so now when I get hit with lawsuits, because I still get hit with lawsuits. I still get hit with cease and desist. I just shut the fuck up now. I just, let's keep it at what you're suing about. And I got other things, and I'm at the point now where I can give people clout, and I don't want to do that. And the lawyers, the first thing, a lawyer should tell you, which my lawyers didn't, is, just shut up. I didn't. My lawyers are telling me to go the fuck in. And that's a bad lawyer. You don't ever hire a lawyer like that's a bad lawyer. But they was young and high-headed too, and you get what you pay for. $5,000 retainer versus $100,000 retainer for her. You get what you pay for. And so that's ultimately like the lesson learned is just when you get served, just shut up and just let the lawyers do what they do. And hiring in this business, First Amendment right lawyers, and that's all they do. First of all, free speech is never free. So it's like it can be free, but there's always a cost behind it. But absolutely, it was violated, and I think the perception of me, took over, and they weren't able to see. Okay, is this really defamation? Like, does this really cause her damage? And I see, as a juror, because I've been summoned to be a juror before, still even after the court case. But like, you got to think about, these are regular everyday people, and they're seeing me for the first time, and they're like, this is how you act. It would hurt me if someone talked about my husband like that, or talked about me, and this has got to cause her pain. But they didn't realize, like, this is an international superstar. This chick ain't losing no damn money. They're looking at it from their perspective. And so, perception is everything. So yeah, that's all I got to say on that, I ain't running from my country. I am not leaving Florida. Absolutely not. My husband is African, and I've been going to Africa. Only difference is I published this trip. So my son lives in Africa. My husband's family lives in Africa. I had to put it on a credit card because I ain't had no money at the time. Look, there's no money in Africa. I don't even have a bank account in Africa. My husband don't even have a bank account in Africa. There's no money being transferred. We didn't have none. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Like, she got tax returns and she got bank statements, from all the banks. And it's like, girl, you scratching at the walls right now. You knew you sued somebody that was broke. And I get it. You spent $1.2 million and didn't put out a record. You want some of that money back, but you're going to have to get it in payments. I'm trying to pay you. But you're suing somebody who bought a house on an FHA loan. The house that she said she was going to take, that was on an FHA loan. I don't even own that house. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that shit out. You understand what I'm saying? Like, but because she lost so much monetarily coming after me, after, because she wasted 5 years where she should have been putting that into music on me. I get it. $1.2 million on lawyers, you want that back. But I listen, and I want to give it to you every time. But you're going to have to get it in payments for the next 60 years, girl. 60 years. My differences are, I love just, when black people running shit, the notion, I love that when you go over there, you really figure out that black Americans and Africans, we're the same. We like to make our own schedules. We love to look good. We love to be flashy. We love to have a great time. We do it at work. I love that when you go to Africa, it's a little irritating because you do get spoiled over here in the States. When a business open at 9, they can say they open at 9 in Africa. You get to the door, they say, call me when you get there. You know what I'm saying? When the police pull you over, all you got to do is shoot them a few dollars. And this happens. They let you go. I just love the fact of seeing a black owned country and it's ran the black way and everything is preserved. We're not tearing shit down. It's everything. And then when you get here, it's like you're in jail. Never. When I take an interview, I take it intentionally. So, and I'm shocked at the information that we get. Now, Earthquake didn't interview me. I co-hosted 2 of his shows on the LOL network. So, and he had an interesting take, and I think it's going to go viral when I clip it and put it out, but he was just like, I don't understand why it's hard to get in a position like where I am, and I'm speaking as if I'm Earthquake. This is what he said. And he was just like, it's crazy that, somebody that is an eagle like me would come off the cliff and dine with pigeons. And when you come off your cliff to dine with pigeons, you give them validity. And he was describing my lawsuit with Cardi, pretty much. And then you're going down there to get droppings, and they ain't got no money. And you having to come off your throne to go spend money on pigeons. And I said, I ain't no motherfucking pigeon. Don't call me no goddamn pigeon. And I love all my pigeons on my shows. Listen, but I understood what he was saying. I said, I love all my pigeons, so we're gonna respect. He said, I get it. He was just like, but then when you go down there to get the pigeon, then the pigeon turns around and got you in a deposition, and you the eagle, the pigeoned you. So I never do that. And I'm like, listen, Earthquake, I done had some A-lister comedians in my DM saying, take it down now, or my lawyers are going to be there, because I've interviewed comedians' wives on my platform before, and they don't like that. And I tell them, listen, you should be on the stage and you should be using this as material for your next stand-up, because there's a lot of shit she said in there that you could profit off of. But because you got a bitch in your ear, like a wife that used to be a side bitch and she wants her respect, I understand you got to keep that one at bay because you don't want her talking too. But you really need to flip this and use it in your favor. And I think if old girl would have, put me, and diss me that way instead of spending $1.2 million and you don't get no streams, it would have been more beneficial for all. So yeah, I encourage you to continue to go after them damn stories. They are the funniest ones. Soon as he got out of jail a few years ago, he reached out to me, but he had a management team around him that was just milking him. I said, all right, I'll revisit this later. So when I saw that he was really trying to publish the book, I still had his number, because he old school. Old people don't never change their number. They keep it. They be in the yellow pages. So I still had his number, and I reached out to him. I was like, Jimmy, it's Tasha K. Thought you'd never call. I said, you ready? I said, he said, yes, I am. He said, I'm gonna call you back in 2 weeks. I got to get me a suit. I said, okay. I called him back. We flew to Memphis and we got his story. He took me around everything that he used to own, that Marjorie owned, how they got it, what she did with the money and everything. And so, it was messy. And when you get people that want the truth out, because, a lot of celebrities, how they are. They want to be the perfect celebrity. It's like, that's not how you got there. We know how you got there. And we're more interested in how you got there, and we can respect it more. So, with Jimmy's a cool guy. He's a good guy, and he's a funny guy. But that man lost 30 years of his life and took charges for a woman that's free now that won't even come around him or don't want to be in the same room with him with his children, and gave his kids, Steve Harvey's last name. That's trifling. It's fuck. Nah, Steve don't respond to me. Steve don't respond to me. Marjorie has blocked me though. I've never tagged that lady before in my life, but I went to her page one day and saw that it was It was blocked. So then I went to my Finsta and saw that, oh, I can see it now. So I was like, she actually blocked me and I never ever tagged this lady. I don't do that. Well, the lawsuits are just going to be what they are. It's a part of the business, okay? So luckily, the bankruptcy has kind of held up a lot of shit, which is good. It allows me to regroup and start, going in, the direction that I want to go in. But as far as Tasha K on your TV screens, Tasha K on your radio, Tasha K on satellite radio, Tasha K on stage in your city, Tasha K doing sitcoms, doing movies, all the above. Anything that's entertainment. I ain't doing none of that drama shit. I'm not trying to do the Jamie Foxx, the Will Smith shit. I just want to make people laugh. Wendy got in the game snorting cocaine though. Come on, like this is what drove her show. It was a crackhead on the radio. And this no offense though, but everybody was doing that shit. Everybody. There's a lot of radio personalities just didn't let it get to them the way that she did. And she happened to marry her drug dealer. So listen, and that's a bad combination, Because, that's an endless supply of money from him. When you marry your client and she's rich, come on, Kevin hit a lick. So, as far as Wendy Williams, I see how people compare me to her, but I'm not a crackhead. I don't use drugs. You know what I'm saying? I didn't come into the game using drugs. I'm very open about, some of my struggles and things like that. Now, if they consider marijuana a drug, hey, be as it may, but it's legal here. So, and I don't get high while I'm working. I never get high while I'm working. I get high when I'm ready to fuck. That's it. So, and I drink wine occasionally, during the show. But as far as the way Wendy did, I'm like, y'all, this was inevitable. Wendy was a crackhead when she started. And what happens? People, they relapse. They keep smoking. They keep snorting. And then she added alcohol on top of that. And then you get high to the point because your husband is your drug dealer, that he goes out and takes side bitches because that's what drug dealers do. They keep a few women on the side. But because she was so high, she didn't have time. By the time she figured out that he was fucking around, that's when she started riding past the house. And you 10 years too late. You should have been riding past the house beating that bitch ass then. Not after she's, abortion, and then the baby finally here. No. I'm sorry. People always try to compare me to her. I'm like, nah. And my family is the same way. Family, typically, I'm sure when you go around your family, even though you may be different because, you in the commercial space, they may say, oh, that nigga think he all that and shit, but you still one of them niggas. I am still very much country, Panama City. Don't wear shoes a lot. You know what I'm saying? Don't wear drawers a lot. I am still a country bitch at heart. And my husband married that. He thinks my family and me are the most hilarious people he's ever been around. And so does the entire city in Panama City. They're like, them motherfuckers is crazy. So when they hear, oh, that's Tasha K uncle, they know. That nigga crazy. You know what I'm saying? She crazy. Her mama crazy. Her daddy crazy. My dad, I can't even date nobody from my own hometown because he done had babies with all the young girls. Like, shit like that. Like, that's where I come from. So I don't worry about it because it's who we are. And it's not like I'm putting on or we being fake or when I go home, I'm being fake. No, like I sit on breaks just like them niggas and sit outside and eat oysters and I don't drink no beer or nothing, but we all gossip. They gossip about me when I'm not around. And my daughter, she gossips. My son, he's living with our in-laws right now, getting that African upbringing and that Islam and that religion in him because we don't want him running around here, holding up picket signs, talking about pass certain laws for men to wear dresses and shit. We want him to be a man, but if that does happen to come up, we would love him regardless. But at the same time, children go in the direction in which you teach them to go. I don't believe that. It's who you hang around and how you train your child. But like they don't work. They think it's funny. They be like, go, mommy, go. My daughter helps me if I have like little movie roles and stuff that I do, like independent films and shit. Like she helps me to rehearse for them. She loves everything of what I do. Her friends love it. Now the bankruptcy hit her because she was like, mommy, are we broke? I said, baby, we been broke. What the fuck? What are you talking about? Like, I just bought your school clothes on layaway. Like, she's like, oh, okay. She said, my friends came to me and was like, your mom is broke. I said, baby, this ain't my first bankruptcy. And has anything changed for you? She said, no. I said, you still got food on the table. You still got your noodles in the cabinet and shit. your hot dogs and, bologna and shit. You good. We good. What I do is very positive. You've been laughing this whole interview, right? That's positive energy. When people leave my site, I want them to leave positive. And my emails, my DMs, when I run out when I'm outside and people tell me, you made my mom laugh during her last days, or I'm going through chemo and it's your show that gets me through it. My child was molested and, I didn't do anything, but seeing you, really stand up for children that were molested and helping to put these motherfuckers behind bars. That's the positive behind it. And that's why the winos are so gangster about this shit. That's why they don't let just anybody speak ill of my name, because they watch my content and they know what it is that I'm doing. The world is going through so much shit. And you want me to remind y'all every day of how bad life is? Or do we want to be able to find humor in the bullshit that we all go through? And I'm in LA right now, right? There's a lot of people in LA. First of all, LA, number one in homelessness, right? And then now you got the writer's strike, you got the actor's strike. A lot of people unemployed, but being able to laugh. I'm not the first broke person that's in the limelight. And I think, honestly, it's probably the best thing that happened to me, because they're able to see me go through it. And I get those emails every day. Like, damn, Tasha, is bankruptcy okay for me? Should I do it? I've been debating on it. How much you in debt? File that shit. That's what them crackers invented that shit for. File that shit. Start over, So being able to be my real self in the public, going through what I'm going through, I love it. And I wouldn't want it any other way. Look. Hell, even I thought for a second, I was like, damn, this it. I said, they want the money now? Like right now? I ain't got it. Then I had to think back. I said, oh, this a bill. She's a creditor. You know what I'm saying? Now, she may be one of them creditors that stick, like the student loans. But even the student loan people ain't getting their goddamn money. You know what I'm saying? They filing lawsuits and spending money. Like, I intend to pay you what I can pay you, but at the end of the day, it's like, girl, you knew you sued somebody that was broke. I didn't have it. I still don't have it, but I can get it. It's going to take a while, but I'm going to get you your bread, But I got to eat too, and I'm not about to feed you over my children. It is what it is. And y'all tell the student loan people that shit all the time. If I paid off my student loans without filing bankruptcy, I could pay off this. And that's a loan that don't stick. That's a loan that don't go away. Focus on my live show, October 20th in Miami. We got wine, gossip, comedy, skits. We got winos flying in from all over the world, okay? Canada, Europe, Africa, all the way to Miami to see me on stage live. Tickets are on sale. I think we got like less than 100 left. They're almost sold out. And that's a big deal, like for me to just go from nothing to people, moving around their whole lives to come see me live on stage and spill this wine and, and make them laugh. And so please, whenever you see this interview, purchase a ticket if you enjoyed it. You know what I'm saying? I really enjoyed this. Tickets are on sale, ticketspice.com/Tasha K on stage, Miami. And yeah, like that's what I got. That's what I want them to take from that. Buy these tickets, especially if you're a Cardi B fan and you want this money to be paid for it. So help me, help her.